Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2. In the red, it's not the Protoss player we deserve. But I think you'll agree that what Protoss needs right now is a hero. The #1 player, the #1 Protoss in the world, up against the most creative Terran. His strategies are all about working smarter and not harder. It is the Admiral, who's liable to call in the fleet. And then maybe your mother afterwards. A best-of-3 TVP in the Global StarCraft League. I'm not sure who's the favorite. On paper, it's hero. The last 3 or 4 times, and we've seen them recently. 3 or 4 times they've... What is this? All right, this isn't a Carbot episode. Ooh. Well, I think we gotta let this one play out first. He's running. I'm not sure how this ends. There's a cyclone on the way. The chase is... He's breathing down his neck. How is he breathing? They have noses. Protoss have noses, right? Meanwhile... Oh! And he made it home. Alright, gonna shut the door behind him. And then come back out when he realizes he left an SCV outside. And speaking of things left undone, I would be remiss if I didn't remind you to like and... Subscribe. Yes, that's it. That's the one. Subscribe. Jimmy, what are we at? What? 1,166 likes on this video, on this cast, on this series, on this experience. Oh, stop. And I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far. And hopefully these two are about to make it a little bit better. Whichever way it goes, I think it's going to be a roller coaster. Because both these players are liable to try new and risky strategies and are willing to fail horribly. And that is, like, you have your Serals. You have, well, mostly Serals, but you have your players who... Cure, I think, falls into that category of knows what he wants and might not get it every time, but it's very predictable. Whereas we've got double Cyclone, Oracle, no wait, triple Clone opener here against double Oracle, Twilight for hero. He's kind of, I don't know if that's hidden over there. I know there's a Reaper Cliff in that corner. Revelation slap down. It's not going to be a full-on mech, but instead a bit more of a bio-curious build out of GuMiho to start. A Raven, triple Cyclone, Siege Tank, and now a second Barracks, which does indicate, you know, a proclivity towards more the Marines and Marauders than for the mech and the battle cruisers, at least for now. Whereas Charge is the choice for hero. Going to be charging forward into whatever GuMiho has. Very notably, he's not got... Oh, Templar... Well, 1, Templar Archives. That's the first thing. More gases. No Forge. Is there a Robo? No. So, is this a Storm Rush? GuMiho. Wow, this is certainly matching tech for tech here. It could be... No, there's no Robo on the way. It has to be Storm. Why do I say that? As if you were going to go for an early timing, you'd build a Robo for the War Prism. The War Prism is essentially a mobile pylon, and pylons are the powerhouse of the Protoss. So I'd be very surprised. Well, 1, High Templar used for feedback against the Raven. I'm thinking about that now. As so many Spylons already from Hero. We go to the Hero Cam, understanding the map is dark and full of Terrans. Yes, his vision is quite comprehensive at the moment, and only growing as he adds more and more Spylons around the map. And there it is. Psionic Storm is on the way. And I don't think GuMiho is going to have Ghosts for quite a while yet. He's got the triple threat, the +1, the combat shield, the stim pack. But the Ghosts and even a 3rd Commencement are a pretty long way off here. So, well, this is a very... Is this the Marine from earlier? He's back, and he's going to get... His sacrifice will not be in vain. The nightmares of the Zealot, they haunted him for 5 minutes. Okay, he said, take me. I'll go. And he volunteered for the scouting mission. The SCVs were like, no, wait, we have orbital commands. You don't... But he went. And he found the Templar archives. He saw the Templar. It's very clear to GuMiho now what this is. And now it's clear he has to move out sooner rather than later. Even though the SCVs don't seem to care. They're going to get in the way of everything. Contractors. Yeah, GuMiho gonna try to strike before hero is ready. But unfortunately, the Psionic Storm will be fully operational by the time his army arrives. The Select All army back. Widowmine tries to burrow, but the Oracles drag the entire army back. GuMiho. Well, hero well known for his tendency to press that Select All army button, but it appears GuMiho is also an aficionado of bringing everything back. And I think it's just gone from a potential attack to between dragging the army and getting the stasis caught in the center. Yeah, GuMiho's not gonna bother here. Feedback. Sir, 0 out of 5. Tried to murder my probes. Come back with 2 Widow Mines next time. The feedback strongly discourages the Raven from any further activities nearby. I'm surprised I didn't see a single Phoenix to help kind of zone things out. The choke point at the center. Always a... Oh, well, there you go. 2 Widow Mines. Feedback is good, but... GuMiho said, all right, then. I'll oblige. And Storm, what are you going to do? Storm your own probes? Well... This time, Hero's entire army is coming back to deal with these mines. Did he bring a revelation? I don't believe so. So off to a rough and tumble start. If you watch the series from a couple weeks ago with Hero vs. GuMiho, I believe it was ESL Cup, it looked almost as messy as this so far. And that's what I meant by a roller coaster here, is both players are kind of swerving their entire army around to deal with relatively small things. But the armies are growing. That drop, by the way, shut down handily by a few High Templar and a Storm. The medevacs are heading back, and eventually, well, we don't have to fight. We could go into a haphazard base trade. And it looks like that's exactly where we're going right now. As GuMiho, most of his army's on the other side of the map. The Widowmine somehow faster than the rest of the units will get caught out. But there's nothing else back at home. He's gonna recall into the midst of the Terran army. Hero didn't actually kill that much here. Are we gonna go this far and then pull back? What is this, a PG-13 movie? Come on. The High Templar in the Prism. Well, the Storm's doing terrible, terrible damage. The Marauders gonna be chased down by the Zealots, reminiscent of the story that Billy told earlier in the game. The Zealots. Much more murdery, though, with the charge upgrade done. Double Colossus and Prism Speed. There is a very, well, double Widowmine drop. Feedback, Stalkers. Everything put together knocks it down. That potential damage is dealt with. GuMiho down 40 supply in the blink of a Stalker. And, you know, well, a couple High Templar snap of their fingers. I'm not sure if it's like wizards, like with High Templar, do they need to do the hand things? Or is it just like Harry Potter wands, where technically the magic is inside you all along, but the wands help channel it? The psionic, like when Kerrigan's getting, she does that. This is not important. I think the hand things are important. I don't think most High Templar are that experienced or that talented individually. Oh my god. Massive Category 5 Storms. 10, 11 SCV kills. And it looks like we're going to get that base trade after all, as history repeats itself. And recall is still 30 seconds out. As round and round we go. Hero coming back. He's coming all the way. He did kill the third. But GuMiho is certainly going to get the natural and a bunch of the tech. A couple Widow Mines may knock out a Colossus on the way back, which is quite a take there. The Marauders get another one. And GuMiho, I mean, this is not going to go great for him. He's lost a lot of army supply. He lost the third base, but he didn't kill the natural. He didn't get the Templar archives. And he didn't get the Robo Bay, so there's still plenty of splash damage in production. He has a Ghost Academy. 5 ghosts are done. So, a lot of the pieces of the potential puzzle. But these two fearing confrontation, but being almost inevitably drawn into it. That is not much of an army, but it does have 5 ghosts. So, hero looking to cancel it like Blizzard with StarCraft ghosts as well. And now we have EMPs coming through, but even at half HP, that Protoss army gonna be more than enough to deal with a rambunctious bunch of Terrans. Now on the other side, GuMiho just taps it out. It's all over. Game 1 goes to hero. What a disaster piece that was. Okay, it wasn't too bad, but it certainly was not a clean victory there. Whoa, bit of a rough and tumble start. I wasn't sure if we were going to go in with some super planned out cheeses or if they were just going to freestyle it. Because with these two, I can never tell if they're coming up with the builds on the fly, and I imagine they're planned out. But no plan survives contact with the first Marine and Zealot, apparently. And that brings us, relatively concisely, into Game 2, with hero up 1-0. Ooh, that was a pretty nice turn of phrase. And then I kind of ruined it by pointing that out, but still. Like and subscribe for the best words. And also mine. GuMiho with a surprising amount of barracks being built in his very own base. Not always known for that. Especially in current year. Since we're off to, 2 gas. We'll talk about that in a moment. A little bit... Where are you going with 2 probes? Okay. Oh, I want to do a meta discussion. I want to talk about, like, years of content and liking and subscribing and getting 200,000 subscribers and all the support. But we're just going to have to... Just imagine I said something clever and inspiring. And then quickly moved on to the much more interesting thing that hero is doing, which is fake probe scouting into like a proxy. I'm gonna go with Robo. I'm getting Robo vibes from this one. It might be a Stargate. He's got double gas, and it's probably a Stargate. But I'd love to see a Robo, just to mix it up a little. Yeah, it's a Stargate. I think you would put it on the other side. A bit more difficult, unlikely to be scouted. But I'm pretty lactose intolerant myself, so we'll leave the cheeses to the professionals. As CV comes in, we'll see a severe lack of pylons and Nexi. There is a gateway, there is a single pylon, and there are 2 gases done. Shenanigans are afoot. What flavor? Well, a bit surprising that hero. Well, it looks like just the proxy Stargate expand. Just something to get maybe an Oracle in a little bit quicker and keep GuMiho bottled up at home. I think the Reaper may eventually find it. Well... Will the Watchtower spot it? Oh! Hero. Had that... Yeah, well, this one is clearly mapped out. He knows exactly the Watchtower vision radius. Puts it right outside it in the most... By the way, beautiful map. I love the look. I love the contrast here. The blue and the orange. Looking like a Battlefield generic AI generated poster, but I mean there's a reason blue and orange are so popular. It's colorblind approved contrast. In fact, I've debated. So back to the meta discussion, because this Oracle is not going to do too much damage, but it may be damaged itself if it flies into a Widowmine. Unfortunately, we can't switch the colors. We have to use the colors that the players used. It is... I would actually like more tournaments played with blue and orange. Like Rocket League, understanding. I don't know how many people watching this are colorblind. I don't think it becomes too much of an issue outside of mirror matchups, but... Yeah. I do hope that games going into the future do have that in mind. Especially for observing. It would be nice. Not that... Yeah, once again. Okay, you saw it. It's pretty obvious. It is a point of contention that depending on the map tile set, getting back to the visibility of things, depending on the map tile set, it's easier to spot the indentation of Widow Mines. I don't believe you can see it right here with hero until it's in range, but... and since this is a relative... You see right there? But on darker tile sets, which are many of the maps and many locations on some maps, it is much, much harder, let alone on creep, which is not known for its pale complexion. So, that is definitely, in my opinion, something that, much like the colorblind thing, could be improved. But a Viking strongly discourages the Oracle from hanging out. Widow Mine.
I am here in the shadows.
Well, the Stalkers may be in the shadows, but the Widow Mine is underground, which is even harder to spot. Takes a Stalker out. Oracle taken down as well. A series of unfortunate events to start here for hero. Another Widow Mine on the other side. He shades in the adapts. Hero! A sloppy second there, if you would. A tank at the back line. Leads with one Stalker to eat the tank damage. Blinks in. But there is a Viking on the ground, which is surprisingly strong with its bonus mechanical damage. A Viking can beat a Stalker 1v1, and can do pretty well even against two, as well as being able to be repaired. It's actually a huge damage boost, especially considering there's no Warp Prism. He can just keep the Stalker on the ground, and of course it helps zone out the Oracle. The Viking, a bit of a sleeper choice, but one that GuMiho understands very well, I think. It's one of my pet peeves, is how few Vikings Terrans will make against Protoss. Yeah, cleaning things up there. It's got 5 kills, and there's nothing simple for it to kill here. The Viking racking up 5 Adept or Stalker kills, mostly Stalkers. Of course, it could just be getting the last hit, but the DPS is real. There's a Phoenix for high ground vision here. He's gonna blink into the main, but it is only 5 Stalkers, going for the tech lab. Feel like hero's kind of bumbled this one a bit. Combat shield goes down, probably the less valuable of the 2 upgrades here, but still helpful. Meanwhile, Adepts into the natural, trying to get more damage done. The Stalkers are blunking away. Another messy game as hero expands to the bottom left corner, probably the best case scenario. An attempt at a recall gets 2 out of 3 Stalkers out. Adept decides to shade into the main. I guess there were no great options there. Overall, though, what are the losses? 13 Stalkers, 6 Adepts. There's been some SCV. Well, we got to think about infrastructure here. Oh, this is awkward.
Engaging the enemy.
SCV hanging out at the Watchtower probe, waiting its turn. Not the time for pleasantries, I would think. But instead... So, GuMiho knows about the gold, and he has all his infrastructure. The hardest part for Protoss when you do this is getting your economy and your production kind of started behind, because you cut a little bit of your economy, and Stalkers are not a particularly cheap unit, so you're usually lacking in further tech. And in this case, hero, he's only got 4 gateways. He's adding 4 more. He's getting charge. But GuMiho already has +1. He has 3 barracks, a factory, and a starport. He's got all his add-ons set up as well. Hero's gonna, once again, try to lead GuMiho on. He will drag some of the army back. But what is this? What is the... almost a full drop of units. Did he deny Stim? No, Stim is done. Very, very important. A very optimistic pickup there as well. Stalkers back on the low ground. The medevac of units took a very odd path here. Stalkers are jammed back behind the supply depots. Charge lots will come in to save the day. And if a hero can keep this base mining for just about a minute, it will pay off. But if he spends more defending it than he's gathered, obviously it's not the ideal scenario. But that first kind of failed medevac drop, another medevac going down, it's coming together for hero. GuMiho is not consolidating his forces. He's not keeping his army intact. The Stalkers are picking it apart. They can work a lot better on the open field than jammed in the back of a Terran base. And now he got, very importantly, like I was talking about, that Protoss infrastructure, he's got 8 gateways online now. He can warp in enough charge lots to deal with this. And he's delayed combat shield like 2-3 times now. So without combat shield, those Marines are very, very vulnerable to the charge lots and the stalkers, even if they do have upgrades, as they've already dipped into their HP for the stims. And don't have much left over to deal with the rest. The pylon, it took 9.5 minutes, but he got there. GuMiho still maintaining. Like, it's gone from GuMiho having a solid advantage to a slight one. And that could evaporate quickly if hero is able to keep him contained on 2 bases for much longer. The medevac count, quite dramatic. 7 medevacs and 1. Is that the hero Viking? Has it lived? 6 kills, yes. That is the most experienced unit in GuMiho's arsenal. I will sing the praises of the Viking. I think the Viking is, even though it's used in almost every game, still underused in this matchup. It can trade pretty well. Like, he could land it in an awkward scenario where the Phoenixes would have to lift, in which case it should be able to shoot with its regular guns. Why can't Phoenixes use Graviton Beam on air units to stun them? Because science, space magic, okay? If you don't know why something works, space magic. I mean, I'm sorry. The correct terminology is psionic energy. Sensor tower. GuMiho sitting at 143, 146. It's getting less and less clear where GuMiho's advantage lies, if there is one. I was all ready for a hero to struggle to fight GuMiho's critical mass of bio, but, well, he's still gonna struggle. He still has no splash damage, except for 1 Archon, leading 30 Zealots. It's 1-1 done, though. The upgrades are very important, considering splash damage is not very much involved here. So the bio army against the charge lots is very upgrade dependent. Also, even more important is the positioning. And here, well, the charge lots are being led around. The concussive shells are slowing some of them down, but there's not nearly enough marauders. Now some widow mines. Those could, of course, backfire, especially with any phoenixes to potentially draw them. And we got Storm on the way. Billy's son, Thaddeus here, named after the Ravager that killed his brother, comes in to scout. But Hero's expanding, essentially. He's in 2 different sides of the map, but he's still got a base in between. The engagement doesn't go quite as well as GuMiho might have hoped. Though he does, some saving graces here are his +2 and now +3 weapons on the way. Upgrade advantage, like I mentioned, very important. And ghosts, as well as Widowmine scampering across here. There is a robo, there is an observer, but even at this stage, the mines definitely, they take a lot of attention to deal with, especially deal with efficiently. And in fact, every one of those zealots will voice a strong word of protest at this mine, which does not seem to care and remains underground. And then it will still be there. He doesn't have an observer. That's the unfortunate part. The Templar Prism, the Storm Hammer here. A very fragile yet dangerous piece of the Protoss army. That Viking may very well... The Viking is dead! I don't know when it died, but its sacrifice surely wasn't in vain. GuMiho realizes that at least one, that is becoming my largest pet peeve with Terran against Protoss, is not having 1 Viking to deny warp prisms. More understandable if your opponent has Phoenixes, but he's knocked out most of them. No reason not to have the 1 on patrol. That is a lot of charge lots. 2-1 against 1-1. the ghost count. GuMiho's just decided to sit back, and, well, he's not had a lot of success with moving out onto the map. So he's about as close to maxed out as he's gonna get. Working on those upgrades. Doesn't want to let hero get too much farther on the tech tree. Widowmine racks up its 3rd round of kills. And by that I mean just 1 kill, but denying that expansion. Disruptor, scouting disruptor, bold move. Warp Prism. No, no. There's only 1 Templar and it just got EMP'd. Oh, that's an absolute disaster. He just lost all of his splash damage besides 1 Archon in 5 seconds. Hero. Oh, that's such a disaster. That was everything he had. There's no Colossi, there's no more Disruptors. He's got to go into a half base trade. But he's going to lose his base. He's not trading for anything. He'll kill 22 SCVs. Those will be replaced. How does he defend his probes? Hero's made a huge mistake. Well, a series of very important mistakes back to back. And it all will shatter here. GuMiho just rolls across the map. And yes, that Warp Prism and the threat of Disruptors were keeping him at bay, but as soon as they're removed... Ooh. Oh. It is so hard to be a hero fan sometimes. For every game, he looks like the most genius micro god. It feels like there's a game like that. Where that game, I think, more punctuated by hero's mistakes than GuMiho's plays. Which GuMiho played perfectly fine. Though, not perfect, in my opinion. But Hero, he actually brought it back together. He scrounged his way back into a capable fighting position after being significantly behind. And then, just like that, hope vanished. But a new one rises, an Oceanborn. A probe scout at the very beginning of the game. This is the most NG Bay block laden map of them all. And Terrans have been loving the NG Bay block lately. And that is the struggle. You can't lose the Prism. You can't walk the Templar across. The EMPs will be too much. I know, it's hard not to launch into the, well, Terran is just so strong on their own. That is a scenario where Hero was constantly trading units for time. He was constantly trading units to get exactly what he had in that Prism and what he wandered across the map. The Disruptor, the Templar, he was trading so much away just to get to that tech and survive until then, because GuMiho was very ready to just march across. Is he going to get the SCV? But all of that time, all that 5, 6, 7 minutes of relatively mediocre trades just evaporated. Which does... The most upsetting part for me is it denies us what was turning into a very dramatic game. If Hero holds on a little longer, maybe GuMiho wins a fight but not the war, that draws out into like a 25, 30 minute slugfest. But not like that. Game 3. All right, back to the present. I present to you the ace match. Stargate. Second Nexus. Command center on the high. I believe the probe spot. Yeah, the probe spot. As GuMiho wasn't bothering with getting blocked at the top of the ramp, but instead is perfectly fine with expanding inside his base, especially with the aggressive tendencies that Hero has been trending towards. Cyclone on the way. The strength of the Cyclone is, well, one, you can get it out much earlier than before. And two, any unit that's not a Stalker simply cannot hit it. It can attack while moving and outranges an Adept. And also, don't tickle me with your talk of tickle beams from the sentries. It doesn't beat an Oracle if the Oracle decides to chase it down, but two of them will. And of course, like, rarely does the Oracle get to 1v1 a Cyclone on the open field. Command center. Orbital command, a surprising reluctance to land, but there it is. By the way, no blink openers. I mean, eventually we get to blink. Quite quickly. But Stargate, 3 games in a row. Various versions, but 3 games in a row. Interesting. Still relying on it. Cyclone. Gonna politely yet firmly ask the Oracle to leave. It does. Chrono boosting a supply block Stargate. hero! We're not here to angry coach the Global StarCraft League, okay? But if I were to, I would say that's not an ideal usage of Chrono Boost. Here, GuMiho says, let me help you out. How kind of him. Surprised here didn't cancel that pylon. GuMiho just gonna pick up, head towards the main. Phoenixes will deal with this. You gotta kill the medevac! Okay. This is gonna get picked apart. A bit of a haphazard dismantling, but a dismantling nonetheless. And now here comes hero with his ragtag band of Protoss fiends here. He's got 4 Adepts, 3 Stalkers, 3 Phoenixes, and an Oracle. He looks like he's meaning to attack. So, I would tell you right now, Zest would win this. Is hero Zest. The SCVs are repairing the tank in the air. So, Zest had, and I come back to a Zest, an uncanny quality to take nothing and turn it into everything. And sometimes the confidence with which he attacked would cause his opponents to back off, even if they were in the advantage. Just blinking in, like 7 Stalkers blinking into 8 Marauders. They're like, whoa, okay, how does he know? But hero just doesn't seem to have that quality. GuMiho just calmly holds on. And I am not in love with that attack, as hero spends more of his units in an ill-fated attempt to slow down GuMiho. I'm not sure what exactly. I think he did want to at least kill a bunch of Alright, the shield battery itself going to be targeted. GuMiho with a surprisingly effective drop here. A scan on another base. The shield battery overcharge is already used on the late battery. Siege tanks are here. Hero, does he have blink? No blink, no charge. He spent his early game building up those Stargate units. They have to come through for him now. He really doesn't want to lose this Nexus. He's really not going to have a choice. Hero is now supply blocked at 92 over 70, and it's getting worse. I mean, I don't think he will be at the end of this, but 4 more pylons on the way. This is just... this is too much damage. Charge is finished now. But GuMiho keeps laying into him. This is not... yeah, the charge lots aren't doing it. There isn't the critical mass of units here. Hero has offered up bits and pieces of his army to the extent that GuMiho is happy to chow down. And now trying to intercept. Goes for the Marines, gets the tank over here. GuMiho actually stimming back to deal with it. Hero's still about even on supply, but a lot of that is in Phoenixes, which are out of energy. Yeah, +1 armor is done for the charge lots, which actually will make them surprisingly good against these unupgraded Marines. The medevac gonna be taken down. The tanks are microing back. They get picked up and knocked out. The zealots gunned down by the Marines. hero re-expanding. The Phoenix is getting surprisingly much damage here. I mean, there's nothing to stop them at this point. They've wiped out everything in the sky. So another messy game. But hero seems to be stabilizing, whereas GuMiho has lost a significant amount of his army. But unlike hero, he's lost units that are relatively replaceable. Yes, losing the tanks hurts, the medevacs as well, but losing one or two of those here and there doesn't significantly degrade the quality of his army. One thing that hero is missing is the Oracle. Well, now it's going to become very apparent as the Widow Mines are now on the field. There is a Robo. Cyclone taken out. Its purpose served. Some charge lots coming in. The Templar Archives in an incredibly forward position. That is a very optimistic Templar Archives over there. Medevac getting spotted here. GuMiho. Are there even any Templar? Yeah, well, the first thing to die. I'm not... Hero. Now in the main, the Warp Prism. Where's the Viking? Well, in this game, Widowmine connects. Does he have an armory? No. It just got stopped producing. And he's gonna lose the ground army. Well, actually, the Phoenixes are entirely out of energy, and the Marauders are still kicking. The charge lots will slice them up. But at the end of the day, it's just Phoenixes. You can't, he put the Templar Archives at the front of his third hero. GuMiho is struggling to keep it together, but hero is certainly offering him up some free helpings, it feels like. And now it may have been too much. 56, the economy is no longer in hero's favor. The tech just got gutted. The Phoenixes are not going to deal with mass Marines and mines. Charge lots are not nearly enough number. GuMiho very likely could walk across the map and win right now, but he's not going to take that risk. There might be something he missed, and at this point, hero showed a tendency. The Warp Prism, I believe, died. It did. I'm not sure how, but there was a Warp Prism in the main, and now there certainly isn't. The Widow Mine drop, for some reason, with mines inside, is taken out by the Phoenixes inside of GuMiho's base. The Phoenixes keep going, but armory is done. Those mines will recharge, and they've already taken a big bite. A scan, some sentries. He's gonna recall the Phoenixes home. GuMiho will realize, and he's not gonna take a fight on hero's terms. Hero really has to hope this game drags on a few more minutes so he can get that Robo Bay done. Tell me the Robo Bay isn't sitting at his third. Okay. Better. Better. Phoenixes will continue to chew through the SCV. He's got to be very wary of those mines, hiding behind every building. From hero's vision, it's essentially impossible to spot them, and even if you can, there's no way to deal with them. Disruptors are on the way.
Depleted.
Well, just one disruptor. The charge lots. And he runs forward past the charge lots he knows he can get to get more. These are losses that hero cannot afford, which are pretty much any losses at this point. Ghosts on the way. Disruptor shot. If he gets a max radius disruptor hit. Force field, but I'm not sure who's locked in with who here. Decent disruptor hit. A Colossus is on the way, but GuMiho says, okay, I'll just go up here. And there's nothing in the natural to stop him. The Widow Mine's retargeted here. And, well, there goes the Robo. GuMiho's tearing through everything. And it looks like, when it mattered most, GuMiho stepped up to the plate and will be knocking hero out. Disruptor shot. GuMiho lost 4 matches against hero. Since the new patch, they've met. But here, in the largest stage so far, GuMiho will be claiming victory unless he somehow manages, unless he like walks away from his keyboard right now. I was really ready for that outro. It was a pretty good one too, I thought. But no, we're not done. And neither are the Widow Mines, which recharged and are ready to go again. There's no detection. Well, there's an observer somewhere. He finally brings it back. Hero not willing to tap it out yet, but we can see the supplies. We'll kill a couple more mines. A force field strongly, well, mild inconvenience to the bio units. Another Colossus on the way. Phoenix Colossus may have served him well before. The Natural's gone. Extended Thermal Lance is unpowered. The force field's but a suggestion, the Marauders. Don't get closer. The Colossus at half HP. It's actually +2 armor for the Protoss army here, but the Phoenix count is crumbling. Shield battery overcharge. Hero determined to make GuMiho work for it. GuMiho 69 SCVs and he dropped 6 mules. I just want to give it a moment. It'll be worth it, trust me. Meanwhile, the Marauders chasing things down. The Widow Mine trying to be drawn into the Terran army will succeed, but the Colossi will tumble. Extended Thermal Lance tried to dodge the Ruptor hit, didn't work out, doesn't matter. The final Colossus. Hero really fighting it out here. But at the end of the day, GuMiho will take it home. An arduous series. Not a perfect one by either side, but GuMiho wins this scrappy exchange. A bit of a heartbreaker for Hero, who is a pretty heavy favorite over GuMiho on your average day. But today is not an average day. Instead, it's GuMiho's day. The Admiral reigns supreme. And 2-1 will be the final score. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Otherwise, how did you make it this far? You just skipped to the end and you're trying to skip back to see how it ends. And now you're here. But if you got the means of motivation, it'd be awesome if you could check out Patreon, YouTube membership. Otherwise, like, subscribe. 1,166? Okay. But hopefully I made your day a little bit better. I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Stay chill.